Shalom, 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 Yasha Allah. This your boy, Brother Shamwa Allah, back at you with another quick edifying video. Today's lesson is going to be called, A Fire Shall Come from His Wrath. All right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Halal, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. That's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, and His only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone, who have ruled well to the Spirit, and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days of mighty shalom. Another mighty shalom to all you Akim out there laboring on the highways and on the hedges and on the unicorn, which is this internet, pushing this 100% doctrine, this 100% truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days of mighty shalom to you all as well. All right, this is a fire shall come from his wrath. All right, and this is, I just saw this YouTube, this guy right here who's explaining, just the nuclear blast, right, which we know are going to be coming from those ICBM missiles, right, during the day of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. And I just kind of want to go over it. Then I want to go over a couple of scriptures. All right, so fair use, fair use, fair use.
4, 3, 2, 1. In the first 1/1,000,000th of a second after nuclear detonation,
So Salakia, so this is just showing the sequences of a nuclear explosion, okay? And what happens, okay? So fair use, fair use, fair use.
heat is already so extreme that a ball of plasma forms. It's a fireball so hot, it reduces everything inside it to subatomic particles. The core of our star is 15 million degrees Celsius, making it the hottest point in the entire solar system. But
So he said the sun is 15 million degrees Celsius. But watch this. Keep reading. Fair use, fair use.
for a brief moment in time, it becomes the second hottest point because the core of a nuclear fireball can reach 100 million degrees. To put that in perspective, that's 20,000 times hotter than the vaporization point of diamond, one of the most resilient materials in the entire universe. So it doesn't matter if you're in a fridge or a bunker made of diamond.
Right? So even hot enough to basically melt or to dissolve diamonds, I believe is what he's saying. Salakia, fair use, fair use.
If you're inside of this fireball, you will get deleted from existence. All of this heat radiates outward at the speed of light, instantly scorching anything unfortunate enough to be within view. This real test footage shows the paint getting vaporized at the moment of detonation.
Now you see that? That's the paint getting vaporized from vehicles, and he's going to show the building too. Like, this is how powerful, the waster is, right? Let's keep going. Fair use, fair use.
It's quite literally a laser engraver, but like everywhere. Anything combustible immediately ignites on fire, including everything within a mile of this explosion. All the people within a mile and a half would receive third-degree burns. It's a burn.
A lot of times people try to base their journeys off of what
Salakia.
other people are doing.
And a half would receive third-degree burns. It's a burn so bad you don't even feel it. And looking at this test footage, what I find fascinating is that it's not actually windy. What we're seeing is the heat of the nuke pushing the smoke away like it's the solar wind or something. It's just that intense.
That's how hot that fire is, all right? The scriptures talk about it's the day of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi shall burn as an oven, okay? Let's keep going. Fair use, fair use.
Wind, and the most devastation is still to come. The shockwave is a sphere of high-pressure air that expands outward faster than the speed of sound. In fact, this shockwave is so powerful, it levels up into something even deadlier. When it hits the ground, it reflects back up to recombine with itself, forming what's called a Mach stem. It gives the shockwave a razor's edge, shaving the city down to rubble.
Now, just imagine this. This is, this weaponry is going to be what Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is going to use of course, along with the chariots, all right, of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. But this right here is what's going to be used to totally wipe out Babylon, all right, within 1 hour. All right, you see the trees bending, but keep watching. Fair use, fair use.
Few seconds at this point, but the explosion is still happening! The shockwave leaves behind a pressure vacuum which sucks all the air back in with hurricane force winds. It's not as strong as the initial shockwave, but this is more insidious. As the air rushes back into the city, it delivers fresh oxygen to all of the fire! The rushing air feeds the flames which create fire tornadoes that swell to hundreds of feet high. This terrifying reality is called a firestorm and is exactly what happened to Hiroshima.
Right. So I just wanted to get that point right. Now let's go and get a couple of scriptures, right? Lord's will, this is edifying, right? So let's get this real quick. This is Babylon, all right? And this is what we're trying to warn people, before the day of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi's wrath comes and completely wipes out this place, Babylon, aka America. All right. Second Ezra, chapter 16 and verse number 3. Right. I'll start at verse 1. It says, "Woe unto thee, Babylon." Right. Babylon, is America and Asia. Woe unto thee, Egypt. Okay, because this is Sodom. This is spiritual Sodom and Egypt, right? AKA Babylon, daughter of Babylon, right? The great whore, right? It has many names, all right? But it's talking about here in America, okay? Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair, bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. All right, it's talking about the day of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. It says, a sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Right? It says, plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? It says, may any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood, or may anyone quench the fire in the stubble when it had begun to burn? May one turn again the arrow that is shot from the strong archer, right? And, these missiles are likened into the sword. It's the modern day sword weaponry, right? It's also likened to arrows, okay? To arrows. So it says, may one turn again the arrow that is shot of the strong archer, right? With those missile silos, you got the submarines that have the nuclear capability of launching these missiles, right? These ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missiles, okay? Which are going to have these nuclear warheads, which are capable of doing what you just saw, okay? It says, the mighty Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi send forth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? It says, a fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? Okay. Let's jump down. Verse number 14. It says, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. Okay, when these missiles will get shot from across the world, right, they're not going to return back. They're gonna hit its mark. All right. And they're not gonna return until they come to their pinpoint, which will be here in Babylon. Right? We know that this place here in Babylon is gonna get hit, and of course, Israel's gonna get hit, right? But unlike Israel will be rebuilt, right? But Babylon will not be rebuilt back. It's gonna be and it's gonna stay desolate. All right. So it says, the fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. All right. And that's what this you see how it swept the motion, and then what did it do? It put back the air, right, to build these fires, to increase these fires. All right, because fire is a cleansing agent, And this place, Babylon, this filthy place, is going to be burned by fire, right? That's what in Revelation 17 it says, "Burn, you shall burn the flesh of the whore." It's talking about this city, right, or this place, Babylon, okay, aka America. All right. It says, like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plague shall not, Salaki, the plague shall be sent upon the earth and shall not return again. Okay, they're going to hit their mark. All right. It says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days, right? Ezra says he's seeing this, seeing this vision. He's whoa, you know what I mean? Who is going to, he's seeing this, Babylon, completely destroyed by these arrows, all right, which are these ICBM missiles or the sword, if you like it, all right? Or when we go to, let's go to, Isaiah, right, where it talks about the waster, okay? The waster, right? And this, like I say, this was a pretty good it's a little short little video, right? But it just shows the true scale of a nuclear explosion, and they go into like Los Angeles, and they was basically saying that one of the bombs that Gog, right, or Russia has, can destroy, pretty much the whole city of Russia. I mean, Slovakia, of LA. Okay. Let's go to Isaiah 54 and verse number 16. It says, "Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy." All right, and that waster is talking about these nuclear weapons. Okay, these ICBM, these intercontinental ballistic missiles, right, with these nuclear warheads, which are going to destroy Babylon. Okay, and the smith, right, are these modern day scientists. Okay, because we know a blacksmith, he creates weapons. All right, the modern day smith is talking about these scientists, these nuclear scientists who have created this weapon. All right, and it was created for Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, for the day of his vengeance. All right, when we go to the book of Isaiah 9 and verse number 5, right, it says, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire." All right, and you saw this thing is, when these things are let off, they're hotter than the sun. Okay, said the sun was 15 million degrees. It said these can reach up to 100 million degrees, right? And it told you that people in that area, in that vicinity will instantly, in a radius, right? Which, if they're not incinerated, right, when you get close, anything that's in that area is just going to be totally incinerated, right? That's why it says shall melt the elements. Okay, what's going to melt elements? Nuclear heat, nuclear fire. Okay, but it said anybody in the radius, they're going to receive third-degree burns. He said that the burns are so bad that you don't even feel it. That's how much you're going to be burned. Okay, and you see, it's damn near brighter than the sun. Okay, so it says, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, and garments roll with blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire," right? Because most wars, most battles, they were, fought with, swords, guns, now you have, missile launchers, different things like that. But this one is going to be a nuclear war, okay? Where Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is going to put it on the spirits of these other nations to what? To shoot these missiles or these arrows at Babylon and totally destroy this place. All right, and you see how hot it is. Okay, when we go to the book of Malachi 4 and verse number 1, it says, "For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven." Okay, and you saw how that heat basically like a heat wave burned the paint off of the vehicles. Looked like powder, just dust being blown off. Right? It says, "For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, all that do wickedly, shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith Yahawah Bahasham of hosts, and it shall leave them neither root nor branch." Okay? Let's get one more. All right. And you see how powerful this stuff is, man. Right? And this is, you have this grace period, the Yahawah Bahasham is warning, his people, because this place, Babylon, is going to be utterly destroyed, right? And 2/3 of our people, the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? And you of the diaspora, who look like these other nations, but your lineage goes back to Jacob. If you're here in Babylon, you're going to be destroyed, right? When those missiles touch down and you're here, right? It's curtains, okay? Unless you're of the elect who are going to get beamed up out of this, and going to be witnessing this, from the heavens, Let's get this. Let's start at verse 9, right? 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 9, it says, "Yahawah Bahasham is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is long suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance." Okay, and we know that's of the elect at this point, right? Because 2/3 have already been written off, right, in this place of Babylon. Okay, but it says, "But the day of Yahawah Bahasham will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise." Okay, and when the impact of those missiles hit, the sound, the explosion, right? And remember, this stuff is going to be, he was saying that it was quicker than the speed of sound. All right, the shock waves and stuff that were sent are faster than the speed of sound. All right, so by the time you even hear it, and if you're in that vicinity, you might not even hear. You're gonna be incinerated. Okay, because what does it say? And the elements. Okay, and what are elements? Everything is made of elements. You have the element chart, and everything is made of those elements. Okay, but it says, "And the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up." Okay, and this place, Babylon, is going to be completely burned up. All right, completely, all the elements. Okay, and you see how when it impact, and he it was a pretty good explanation. It's like when it hits the shock wave, it bounces back, so it spreads out, right? It comes back on itself. When it comes back on itself, it pulls that shock wave kind of back, brings air back into where you go into the mushroom cloud, and then that's gonna, anything that was already burning is gonna have more fuel, right? Because now that fresh air is coming in, and the fire needs the air in order to go. Okay, I say, man, that was a nice little explanation of it. Now just imagine, from Babylon, from the coast, the west coast to the east coast. All right, from the north to the south. This whole place is going to be utterly burned with fire, man. Okay, and let's get this. It says, "Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of person ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness?" And it was crazy because at the end of it, he kind of had to stop, because when he saw that he did the little, you can go online and you can, simulate it. And he said, that it was like 3.9 million or 3 million casualties, just by, that alone. Okay. So You know, what more when you have thousands of these, you know, hitting all across, you know, Babylon, okay, the U.S., right? This place is going to be what John the Revelator said, the lake of fire, all right? So knowing that, right, knowing that all these things are going to be dissolved, the elements are going to be melted with a fervent heat, what kind of person should you be? What should you be getting ready for, huh? Right? And should it be going to the club, right? Should it be, you know, trying to live your best life, right? It says, looking for the hasting unto the coming of the day of the Most High, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. And that's what we're looking for, the day of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi's wrath. Okay? It said that it shall burn like an oven. All right? And that's the hottest oven you'll ever... Listen, the Lord's wrath is going to come upon this place. All right? And he's trying to warn you. All right? So I just want to do this quick lesson. Like I said, Lord's will. This is edifying, right? With that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Call Halal Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. Peace and blessings to the elect of the 12 tribes scattered abroad, a mighty shalom to the 144,000 men, right? Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who have ruled well to the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days and has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom, another mighty shalom to the rest of the elect, man. Stay diligent, stay focused, keep praying, right? And continue to examine yourself, right? Of what manner of person are you to be in all holy conversation and godliness, all right? And with that, I'll say shalom.